All right, ladies, we are on chapter 7, Working with Others, page 89 in the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. Practical experience shows that nothing will so much ensure immunity from drinking as intensive work with other alcoholics. It works when other activities fail. This is our 12th suggestion. Carry this message to other alcoholics. You can help when no one else can. You can secure their confidence when others fail. Remember, they are very ill. Life will take on new meaning. To watch people recover, to see them help others, to watch loneliness vanish, to see a fellowship grow up about you, to have a host of friends. This is an experience you must not miss. We know you will not want to miss it. Frequent contact with newcomers and with each other is the bright spot of our lives. Perhaps you are not acquainted with any drinkers who want to recover. You can easily find some by asking a few doctors, ministers, priests, or hospitals. They will be only too glad to assist you. Don't start out as an evangelist or reformer. Unfortunately, a lot of prejudice exists. You will be handicapped if you arouse it. Ministers and doctors are competent, and you can learn much from them if you wish, but it happens that because of your own drinking experience, you can be uniquely useful to other alcoholics. So cooperate, never criticize. To be helpful is our only aim. All right, let's break down that page. So, what gives us immunity from drinking? Well, practical experience of working with others. Amazing. When I started working with others, and I started reading this book over and over and over again with new alcoholics and with existing alcoholics and with suffering alcoholics, I grew spiritually. I always reference back to page 15, where page 15 says, if we fail to enlarge and perfect our spiritual life through work and self-sacrifice for others, we will not survive the certain trials and low spots ahead. Working with another alcoholic will help when all others fail. So when you hear the term, I need a meeting, it shouldn't be, I need a meeting because I need to hear something. I need a meeting because I need to go find me a new person to work with. And I've said this before, Christmas Day is the worst day of the year for me. I go to 3 meetings a day. I have fellowship at the dinner at night. And what I do when I get to the meeting, hey, hi, how are you? Hey, hi, how are you? Hey, hi, how are you? And I wait till someone says, oh, I'm having a terrible day. And I'm like, great, my name's Kim. I'm going to sit with you. Because when I'm having a bad day and when I'm not feeling spiritually connected, I need to work with another alcoholic. It said that in Bill's story. In his first year and a half, he struggled. When all else fails, works with another alcoholic, saved the day. I don't need a meeting for anything other than picking up a newcomer or someone who's suffering or talking to someone who's maybe not doing as well as I am. There's always someone doing worse than you. Life will take on new meaning. That second paragraph, let me tell you about the new meaning your life can take on. I know a lot of you have seen me share about 164 and beyond. Best experience I've ever experienced in my life was being part of growing that fellowship. Like, I can't tell you what the past 3 months of my life have done. For me, personally, spiritually, mentally, physically, I am changed forever as a result of the service that I've been able to do for the past 3 months. And I can't put words to it. It's so amazing. If you're not acquainted with drinkers, you can find them. They're everywhere. You can go to detox center. You can go to treatment center. You can go to a meeting. If you're really desperate and you can't find them there, you can go to a hospital. You call a doctor. We can find alcoholics. They're real easy to find these days. Back in the 1930s, how Bill and Bob would find the newcomer would be to go to hospitals, ask ministers, and ask doctors. You know, I can call up my local central office and I can say, hey, do you need anybody to work the phones? I can call up and say, hey, when does your treatment and accessibilities committee meet? I'd like to get involved in working some detox panels and speaking in treatment centers. There's lots of ways that we can find new alcoholics to work with. The meetings is the best place to find them. And it's a totally mute point to say it's hard to find them right now, because if you're looking for a newcomer, come on down to 164 and beyond at night. We've got tons. So if you hear someone say that you can't help a newcomer on Zoom, you call bullshit on that, because we've been doing it since March 12th. There's lots, and I see all of you shaking your heads, and there's tons. And of course, we never criticize, we cooperate. There's another committee that we have, CPCPI. It's the committee where we cooperate with professionals, not just doctors, but also police departments, high schools. We can find people to work with. There's a ton of them out there, just waiting to find us. Questions, comments, concerns, stories, add-ons, experiences. Suzanne.
Suzanne alcoholic. I was a really shitty patient, and I was really difficult, and I tried. I went to Ravensong here in Vancouver, and I said, I want to speak to an alcoholic, because none of the counselors were alcoholics, and I could not string more than 4 days. I couldn't. And so I saw on Shameless, of all places, that TV show, that the fellow went to AA. So I called them, and the fellow answered the phone, and I met my sponsor. And it's true. Alcoholic to alcoholic, she understood my mind. She understood alcoholism. I didn't know if I was an alcoholic. I had alcohol use disorder. What does that even mean? So alcoholic to alcoholic, we know because we've been there. We have compassion, we have empathy, and understanding. And I think God has placed several addictions in front of me so that I can help others, so that I really get it. And I teach grade 11. And I think there's probably going to be a lot of room for service soon. And that's why to one of my grade 12 students, I told her that I am a member. And I had to do it because God told me to. And I needed her to know that if she knows, she can tell her friends who tell their friends. And they can call AA. Not me, AA. Thank you.
Thank you. I love speaking in high schools. I absolutely love it. And speaking in high schools can have two things. Number one, you can help those students who may be struggling. But number two, you might help the students whose parents are struggling, right? Like, it's twofold. There's all sorts of opportunity there in the schools. And like, the first time I ever spoke in a school, it was amazing. And I do it all the time. I absolutely love it. And that's through CPCPI. So that's where, if you want to speak in schools, call your central office and ask for your CPCPI chairperson's phone number. Just say a whole bunch of C's and they'll know what you're talking about. Heidi.
Hi, Heidi Alcoholic. I just wanted to share real quick, as you were speaking, I got a text from my brother that said, hey, I have a friend that would like to get to a meeting. Can you tell me what information to give? And it just kind of gave me chills, because like immediately we're talking about like, putting yourself out there. And because I have been like really open and honest with my family about, where I'm at, that kind of thing has happened multiple times where, that help, where to help people, where to guide people does sort of just come. So I just wanted to share that. That was just random and timing wise, kind of cool.
Super cool. All right, question privately was, what are the two committees? Treatment and accessibilities will cover your detox centers, your treatment centers, and I believe the prisons have their own committee. I can't remember the name of it, but it probably has prison in the title. And CPCPI is your cooperation with professional communities And public information has a hard one. So if you call your local central office, they will know who the chairperson is, because usually there's a committee through intergroup. There's also a committee through area, and now districts also have committees as well. And if your district doesn't have a committee, you can create it, because that's how I became the remote communities chair. Della.
Good morning, everybody. Della Alcoholic. It's almost giving me God bumps because, yeah, your life takes on a new meaning. Just being of service and being able to call on those newcomers and get them help and spread the message, and it feels so good. And I couldn't imagine my life without doing it. And I love keeping everybody safe. And yeah, it fills my heart, and it feels really good, and I love it. Thanks, Kim.
Thanks, Della. Quick question. How sober are you, Della?
6 months.
And when did you start doing service on a huge level?
Oh, maybe a couple months ago?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you don't need to be years in your sober to step up and be of service.
No, it's awesome.
And like Della's sobriety is like really, really awesome because she's gotten involved. And yes, Margaret brought up Bridging the Gap. The Bridging the Gap program is under the umbrella of treatment and accessibilities. And you can put your phone number on there. And when someone is released from treatment or prison, they get connected with a member to integrate them into the community outside of their institution. It's a great, great program. Lisa G. There you go.
Yes, it is. And I am Lisa G, alcoholic. I'm a real one, as mentioned in the book. But that's not what we're speaking to today. We're speaking to this page here, 89, which happens to be one of my favorite pages in the book. I took the suggestion of working with other people to ensure immunity from another drink. And I was such a bad drunk, especially in the rooms in 01 through 03, that I just really needed to get the key to a couple of venues and do the reading leadings for about 5 years. And in those 5 years, I watched so many people come and go and come and stay, that the ones that came and stayed looked like they were in more pain than the ones that came and left. Because staying and not medicating the way that the fellowship tells everybody that they have to do it is excruciating. But my joy came from watching people recover, seeing them help others, watching that loneliness disappear, and seeing the chairs fill. The empty chairs are always going to be there. I choose to keep a seat next to me when I'm in face-to-face meetings for the people who I love who aren't there. And I just want to say that my life has taken on new meaning as a direct result of working with strangers who I don't expect when I was opening up the venues all those years. So my messages have come from unsuspecting humans. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much, Lisa. And Lisa mentioned chairs. My best friend, Brad, always, every time he shares, talks about putting away your chair at an in-person meeting. If you are 1 day sober, 2 days sober, 6 days sober, 7 days sober, 5,000 days sober, stick around after the meeting and put away your chair. Basic service. Basic service. And you'll see why a million things happen. One, it teaches you patience. The best thing in the entire world is to put away a chair at a meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous, because those fuckers don't stack. So you want to learn a little bit of patience and tolerance. Stack your chair after the meeting, and everybody here who's smiling understands what I'm talking about. And so if you're a newcomer, or if you're fairly new and you've never been to an in-person meeting, pay attention to that. And remember I said that because that's how you learn love and tolerance. Stacking your freaking chair after the meetings. Because I don't know why, I've never found a chair that stacks properly after a meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous. They pick the bitchiest chairs ever. Jenny D.
Hey, Kim. Hi. Jenny B, alcoholic. Another really good place to get newcomers and to get people that, young women that are brand new, is if you have a recovery house near in your area, to volunteer to listen to Fifth Steps. There's three. First of all, you get to listen to a fifth step. Second, you will have sponsees coming out your yin yang because they're all getting out of treatment and they're looking for people to sponsor them, and you've made a connection. And then I had a funny thought. Once you're their sponsor, you can take them back and show them how to do their fourth step properly, like the way Kim showed us. Thanks.
Thank you so much. And you know what? The best way, if you can't find a way to be of service or you can't find someone to sponsor, host something in your house. I'm going to have a line by line. I'm going to have this. Announce it at a few meetings in your area. Post it on one of those dang Facebook groups that you're in. Someone's going to show up. And if they don't, well, you've cleaned your house before nobody showed up. Like, there's always a benefit to doing these things. We just have to look for it. I once had a girl, and she was supposed to meet a girl out in White Rock to help with a 12-step call. So she drove out there, she sat in front of the house, and she called me, and she was furious. She didn't show up. I said, how was the drive? She's like, what? I'm like, how was the drive? She goes, it was lovely. I grabbed fish and chips. I go, oh, that's nice. She goes, and then I walked my dog. I'm like, did you drive home sober? She goes, yep. I go, well, then I guess it was a successful day. Right? Like, we have to shift our perspective. Carol with a heart.
Hi, I'm Carol. I'm an alcoholic. I came in late to the group today. But what I hear, it's amazing how this program works, because I heard someone sharing about going into the high schools. And I've spoken in front of large groups before. But my hesitation is it's my daughter's and my son's high school. I spoke to both of them about it, and they were kind of receptive. My daughter was a little bit more hesitant because it's an amazing story, you know. But you know, there was a DIFUS case. There was a lot of things involved, and I've really been hesitating, but something keeps saying to me, maybe I should really go and do it. But I want to protect them too. And now with this whole COVID thing, who knows when they're going back to school? I don't even know. But I came in on someone who was sharing about the high schools, and I was like, there it is again. And you know, I'm just really thinking out loud right now. But I have no problem speaking in front of large groups. I used to do it all the time. But, you know, that whole thing, you know, I don't want to hurt them either, you know. So it's a tough call. It really is, because, you know, if I could get them young, I was a late bloomer. And thank God. Because I ended up in a coma due to alcoholism. I was in total, full-blown liver failure. I was in a coma for 17 days. Damn near took myself out. Not meaning to, but subconsciously, I guess, maybe meaning to. But I always say when I talk to young people, you know, if you're like this now, are you even going to make it? And I think, like, I keep thinking how important it is, although I'm not sure if their school is the place to do it. Unfortunately, I was asked by one of the women who I was on the PTA with. She's the one who asked me. And, you know, now that my son starts football practice on the 13th. And so I know they're planning to open the schools again. I just still don't know when. But I was thinking about it just this morning, then, as it would, you know, happen. A friend of mine who's also in the meeting texted me and this, and I just happened to be home, and here it is. So I'm just really just speaking out loud, but I appreciate, you know, you women listening and being here, and keep up, you know, the good work. I lead a meeting every Sunday in Asbury Park. That's where I am right now, New Jersey. And the benefits for me far outweigh. I feel like it keeps me straight, it keeps me accountable, and you help others. And thanks for having this meeting. And I thank you all for being here and letting me.
Thank you so much, Carol. I will say one quick thing. If your children are still in attendance at the high school, I don't recommend speaking there until they've graduated. But there's lots of other schools that you can speak to. I don't recommend it. And I will say, even with schools being online, I spoke at the East End Boys Club at Templeton High School via Zoom during this meeting, so we still have the opportunity to be of service in schools. Marianne.
Hi, Marianne, an alcoholic. And Miss Kimberly, I came in before they closed down all the meetings around here, and your bright, sunshiny face and your enthusiasm, darn it, you sucked me in, girl. And I'm so glad it is every single day. Can't get to the 11 o'clock because I'm up at 5 o'clock my time. I try sometimes. But I absolutely have gotten this new love of this program and the way everything is working, you know, with this line by line and you know, the knowledge that I'm getting, and absolutely enjoy helping with the meetings because it makes me want to I want to come every single day, but in the beginning I was hiding in the background. You know, now I'm, you know, here on video because I was one of those shy people. I guess I'm not anymore, but I will be doing a treatment center around here when they open up. I have the number to the lady, and I will be going in, and you have to have a year, which I have just a little over 5 months to do it yourself, but I can go in and speak. So thank you all for all of your wonderful encouragement, and I want to carry this message. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Marianne. Yes, lots of places do have requirements of time for service, but that doesn't mean you can't be of service. Always talk to somebody who's organizing it, or your sponsor, or call me. There's always a way to be of service. If you have one day, you have one day more than someone who's still drinking. If you have 7 days, you have 7 days more than one person drinking. Just because you haven't had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps and you don't have this to transmit yet, doesn't mean you can't say, hey, I found a really amazing ladies line by line and I'm learning. You should come too. That's being of service. That's carrying this message when you can't carry it on your own. Or, hey, I found a really amazing meeting in Vancouver on Saturday nights. Do you want to maybe go for dinner first and then we'll go check out this meeting? They talk about the big book. You can be of service regardless of your time. Step 12 is carrying this message. It doesn't mean you have to sponsor and read the book. You can carry the message by being a connection or supporting them to get to a meeting. There is always a way to be of service. One more, Leslie Pete, and then we got to keep reading so we chat too much. Leslie.
Hi, Leslie Alcoholic, and I'm glad to be here. The only thing that worries me, I've got a very jealous husband. And, you know, being of service in any kind of capacity, I mean, even just showing up to a meeting sometimes is difficult. So I've had the experience as a kid. My mother, who was heavy into AA, and my stepfather bringing home people to sleep on the couch. I mean, they were that into it. And I wouldn't advocate doing that kind of service. especially if you have young children at home. It was something that kind of bothered me. But for the here and now, my time seems to be so precious. I mean, I don't even talk to my mother right now because of a jealous husband. And that is the God's honest truth. And I don't give a shit what anybody thinks about that. He would say something else, you know, making it look like I've got a problem visiting my mother. But oh shoot, I'm anyway. So and then the schools are closed now. I am going to my addiction counselor today to see him and to check in. And we usually do have a whole bunch of other people that show up. So it's kind of a good opportunity. But for myself, honestly, when I first started going to AA, I was just told to shut up and sit down and listen because you don't know jack. And this one girl asked me if I would be in her, if I would be her sponsor. And I said, oh my God, I don't know anything. She says, well, you seem like you got it all together. And I said, holy nuts, quite the opposite. I don't, I'm just doing it like minute by minute, hour by hour, one day at a time. So, and I kind of think that she really needed me because she asked me. So I felt bad about that. So I don't know. That's just a whole nother story. That's all I got to say about that right now.
Thank you so much, Leslie. A few things on that. Number one, to the wives. Read it. It talks about jealous partners when working with others. And again, we've said this many, many times, and I know you and I weren't able to connect over the past couple of days, but we need to chat. But that's a him problem, not a you problem. You're here to get well, not please other people. But yeah, we definitely need to connect on that. And we definitely will talk about that. Those people who say, sit down and shut up, you don't know anything, tell those people to call me. I'll tell them what I think of that. Number one, I like to hear that it still sucks ass out there. I want to hear what you have to say. I'm not going to talk about it right now on why I need to hear what you have to say. So let's keep reading. Page 90. When you discover a prospect for Alcoholics Anonymous, find out all you can about him. I can't find out about you if you're not sharing where you're at. Just saying. All right. If he does not want to stop drinking, don't waste time trying to persuade him. You may spoil a later opportunity. This advice is given to his family also. They should be patient, realizing they are dealing with a sick person. I'm going to break this down right now because I just feel it's important. It's important to listen to what people have to say. It's important for newcomers to share. Number one, it reminds us all that it sucks. Number two, we get to find out where they're at. I can sum up if a person is ready, willing, and wanting this program by the way they share at a meeting. And I can also make my approach appropriately by listening to what they have to say. If I hear them talking about certain key points, I can know what I need to say to relate my experience to theirs and gain their confidence. Previously in the book, it says a true alcoholic armed with the facts about himself can get the entire confidence of another alcoholic in a few hours. I can gain the confidence of another alcoholic in less than 15 minutes. Because I listen to what they say, I relate it to my experience, and I echo it back to them, and they go, she knows what she's talking about. So this is why it's important that we don't tell them to shut up, because we need to hear what they have to say. I need to find out all I can about them. As soon as I have enough information, I tell them to shut up, because then I start talking, so I can gain their confidence. We don't try to persuade him, and we advise his family the same. Preaching to the fucking choir. Stop your preaching. It's not going to work. Let them go. Let them come back when they're ready. Same when working with a newcomer. If they are not willing, able, and wanting, let them be really, don't waste your time. There's 100 people behind him who want what we have. And he'll just join the back of the line and come back up. Don't worry. It's okay. We aren't responsible for keeping them sober. We're responsible for providing them the solution. And it is their responsibility if they want to accept it. Realizing we're dealing with a sick person. Any other comments, concerns about this or experiences on this paragraph? I get a little excited about this stuff. I like working with others. All right, gonna keep going. If there is any indication that he wants to stop, have a good talk with the person most interested in him, usually his wife. Get an idea of his behavior, his problems, his background, the seriousness of his condition, and his religious leanings. You need this information to put yourself in his place to see how you would like him to approach you if the tables were turned. Again, I need to know where you're at in order to say what I need to say to get your confidence. This day and age, I don't talk to the person most interested in him. He's the person most interested in himself. So I talk to him. And then I've got it highlighted what I want to know. His behavior, his problems, his background, the seriousness of his condition, and his religious leanings. What do you want to know from this person? You can get this stuff out of them real easy. Alcoholics love to talk about themselves, so you ask them probing questions. His behavior, his problems, his background, his seriousness of his condition. Hey, is it your first time in AA? How many times have you been to treatment? What's going on in your life? Oh, your wife's leaving you. You've lost your job. Oh, your behavior. Oh, you keep doing this, that, and this and that. I need this information so I know what information from my story to give back. If someone's talking to me about being homeless, I need to bring something from my story to let them know that I understand them so they can relate to me. I have never been homeless living on the street, but I've spent my entire rent and gotten an eviction notice. And usually you can tell a bit of your story to relate to their story because the feelings are the same even though the situations are different. So those are the 5 things we want to know and we want to listen for. Behavior, problems, background, seriousness of his condition, and his religious leanings. And you can get that out of an alcoholic real easy. And you want to know their religious leanings because that way you know what approach to take with your spiritual approach. If they're okay with God, you don't need to try to convince them of God. But if they've had bad experience or they're Catholic or they're Protestant or whatever and they're anti-God, then we know what we're going to say. So we need to get these 5 things so that we can know how we're going to carry forward. See how it says to see how you would like to approach him if the tables were turned. So if you're talking, God love them, but people say at the podium, I am armed with the facts about myself. A newcomer doesn't have a fucking clue what that means. You're armed with the facts about this guy. Sounds like a fucking wackadoodle. No, I get up there and say, I was a blackout drinker. I had my wine sippy cup in my car, in my cup holder, in my stroller, and I was popping. Then the moms, they're like, oh yeah, that wine holder in my stroller. I know what she's talking about, right? We want to be able to relate with them quickly. I don't need to have to explain things in big fancy words. This isn't a big fancy thing. This is a simple program. We relate with experiences. And my verbiage is going to change if I'm talking to someone who comes from the other side of the tracks or someone that comes from corporate Canada or America, depending where we live, right? So we're able to relate our experiences because it's not the experience, it's the feeling. Questions, comments, experiences? Wow, ladies. Nobody had coffee today? Kelowna!
Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon. So I was hosting the Women's International meeting. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was, why my computer glitched. Anyway, there was a young lady who raised her hand, and I asked her to share, and she was in the dark, and she said she was in India, and she was talking real softly and barely audible, but she said she was looking for a sponsor. And on that meeting, they don't have the chat enabled, but I have my phone number in there. So I said that I was going to change my into my email for her to email me, and then I would help her. So I was really nervous, because I didn't know what to do. This woman's all the way in India. Then this woman from the UK texted me and said that she would help, it could be her sponsor or offer that. So I set up a private Zoom room for the three of us, and we got to see her. We got to talk to her a little bit. And evidently she said she had a sponsor that dumped her. And I mean, this is just one side of the story, but so we took the whole time to do all this and gave out our numbers and our emails and everything, and was having some conversation a little bit. Asked her if she had a big book. She said yes, she was ready to start, and then we haven't heard from her. And it's like what Gloriana wrote into the chat, we can only help them so much until they reach out. But she showed up in the meeting again. So what I was thinking is that maybe if I could find someone that spoke the language, we could hand it off to there and then see if that would help. I mean, I don't want to give up on the young lady.
Nope.
Because I saw that she came back into the meeting again, and she speaks not too great English, but I think good enough that, that we did. Anyway,
Yep.
So
I got some suggestions for you.
Okay, go ahead.
First and foremost, we're going to revert back to page 25, where it says, we laid down the spiritual kit of tools to their feet. Why do we lay this at their feet? Because their heads are down when they come in. My phone list sat in my drawer for 12 months. Do not give people your phone number. Get theirs. Call them. People who are suffering and coming in here, they are full of fear. They are full of anxiety. They are scared shitless. They're not going to call you. Call them. Show them you care. Extend the hand of AA. When someone reaches out, we want to extend our hand to them. We grab them because we are the stable ship. They're just floating in the ocean. We can throw them a life preserver and they can float in the ocean for hours and hours and hours. We want to grab them and pull them on board. So get their phone number. Call them. Hey, it's Kim from the meeting. I just wanted to see how you're doing. Let me know if you're okay. You don't hear back? Okay, fine. They have your number now. Maybe in a few days later, send them another message. Hey, I was thinking about you. You never answered back. I hope you're okay. Then you leave it. If you give them your phone number, they're gone. I've given my phone number to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, and they never call me. Never. Second, if you have someone that speaks a different language, this is where going to meetings and paying attention and not being worried about how pretty you look or what that guy over there is doing or that girl over there is doing. I am listening to the people sharing because guess what? I'm filling my spiritual toolkit with people I can call upon when I find someone who needs that person. I know a gazillion people, so when something comes up, I'm like, I got a guy for that. Hey, I heard a girl share about that. Let me connect you. Right? Central offices, best resource. Call AA. Hey, do you got someone that can speak Punjabi? I got a girl. They do. I've had central office call me. Do you know someone that speaks Polish? I'm like, yeah, I heard a guy at a meeting. Let me get it for you. We connect people. This is why we go to meetings. I don't go to meetings to listen to you share about your dead cat, your shitty boss, and all the other crap going on in your life. I go there to hear who you are, what you got going on, and find me newcomer. And then later on, I'm like, you know what? I I heard Betty Sue mention that in her share. Let me connect you because she's got experience that I don't. All right. I got a little excited about helping others. Sorry, guys. June.
Hi, I'm June. Kimberly, you just really basically touched on it. You know, when I went to meetings, when I first came into the fellowship, they used to go around, they give you a book, and everybody would write their numbers down. But by the end of the day, I had 100 numbers, and I threw that book away, and I was scared and frightened, you know, to call anybody. So what I do is just like you do. Either I give them my number, or I ask them for their number. If they're not willing, then I know they're not willing to do the program. Work the program. So, you know, that's what really scared me, you know, because I had so many of those books, and I ended up throwing them out because I would call women, you know, and nobody would call me back. So it really didn't make any sense to me. So you already touched on it. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you. And I just want to show you guys like my little picture diagram here. So this part of the book, this big part book, the first 4 chapters plus the doctor's opinion, is steps 1 and 2. This part right here is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then this big fat part here is 12. There's a very big importance to that, right? We want to get step 1 down pat. Step 2, then we clear up the shit that's not connecting us, and this is where the meat and potatoes is. We pray and meditate, and we work with others, and we grow. That is the maintenance. That is our immunity from drinking again. So I am super, super excited about working with others because this is where you stay here. You get in the middle of the herd, and you don't get taken out of the edges. You don't roll off the bed. All of those things they say. This is where you grow. This is where you grow, is in working with others. Anne-Marie.
Hi, I'm Anne-Marie. I'm an alcoholic. I've known for years, because I heard someone say it, that, you know, if you're trying to help someone and they're not listening, don't waste your time. The guy actually went, next, you know? And I said, yeah, that's true. But I've got a sponsee who had a slip and who's not coming to our pandemic meetings. And I'm not sure what to do about it. You know? She's not cooperating.
I'm really blunt. Call me when you're done. Call me when you're done suffering. You don't have to feel like that anymore. Bye. And they go, what?
She's not drinking. She's not drinking. She's just not cooperating.
That's fine. Gotta go.
Yeah.
I'm super blunt because we're alcoholics, right? You want to get an alcoholic's attention? Hit a button.
Yeah. Hit a button, yeah.
Hit a button. You know what? Because it's not, whatever I do isn't going to make them sober or not sober. I can't make anybody. It says at the end of Bill's story, would not see our way of life.
Yeah.
But I can press your buttons. I have a solution.
Yeah.
Do you want it? Okay, call me when you're done. And when they do call me, I'm like, are you done? All right, let's do it.
Let's get to work.
Tony calls it disturbing them. Disturb them a little. Disturb them a little, right? You got to get uncomfortable to grow. When you're comfortable, you're not going to grow. You know how I got here is someone said to me, nothing changes if nothing changes. And you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. You want some slogans? There's some slogans for you. Suzanne.
When I did volunteer at the phone center, I was really interested because the 12-step calls. They pointed to this line, he may be more receptive when depressed. And they said, jump on those guys. When those guys are down, that's when they're more open to the program. And I learned that from volunteering. And I also made really close friendships with the people I volunteered with. So that's for that, I'll pass.
Yeah, absolutely. That 24 hours when they're hung over to shit and they feel like garbage, that's your best time to hit. the best time to hit. And you got to hook them and sink them. My sponsor calls it triage. I'm not going to be like, hey, you want to read the book? They don't want to read the fucking book. I 1, 2, 3 those suckers in a fucking hour, right? And then I'm like, all right, call me in a couple days and we'll start on the rest of it. And then I get them in the big book after that. You triage them, right? Get them through it and then help them build an understanding. What does my sponsor say? I'm not a baby shower, bridal shower sponsor. I'm like, oh, okay. Because you got to hit, right? Because if I go, yeah, okay, let's start reading on Saturday, I'm not getting it. You want to get them when they're down, get them 1, 2, 3, bang, and get them going to get the foundation, and then they grow by learning and exploring the textbook. Karen. Where's she? Karen.
Yeah,
there you go.
I'm pretty young in the program, but that's what happened with me. I went to like a couple of meetings before the shutdown. I just came into the AA, and of course everybody was sending a book around and putting their names in it. Okay, well, I had those names and numbers, but I had no idea what to do with them. So that last meeting I went to, 4 ladies blocked the doorway when I was getting ready to leave, and they gave me their number. They gave me their numbers, but they said they wanted my number. So I gave them my number. I thought that, well, okay, I give them my number. And the one lady said, I'm gonna be your sponsor. I said, okay. And if it hadn't been for that, I guarantee I would have never picked those books up and called us home. And from that minute forward, I've had my sponsor. So and that was God's will, because it happened that day, and the next day they shut the meetings down. So it worked out great. But yeah, I recommended to my sponsor. I said, why do you take and give these people your all's numbers? They're sick. I was boo-hooing, snot running, crying at that meeting. And my sponsor said, yeah, it was 4 of us there, and they were all trying to figure out which one of them was getting their hands on me. So but my point is, if I'm going to do, when I meet someone, I'm giving them, I want their number. I want to be able to call them and say, how's things going this morning? Just thought I'd call you and see how you're doing, because they're not going to make those phone calls. I don't know you from nobody. And I was in that meeting for 1 hour. I came in when it opened, and I was out the door when it ended. If they hadn't blocked that doorway, my life would be totally different now with this pandemic. I'd have probably been back to drinking. But I had that support because she was calling me and telling me, well, you need to call me now. You need to call me now. Okay. If you tell me to do it, I'll do it. So that's how I got in trouble with drinking. Here, have a beer. Okay. Yeah. But anyhow, that's what I got to say. Make sure you get their number. Tell them, here, let me give you my number, but I want yours too. And they'll give it to you, because I gave them mine, no problem. I'll pass.
Thank you. I just did some quick math for you ladies because someone asked me to post this. So there's 89 pages spent describing alcoholism in step 1 and 2, 30 pages on steps 3 through 11, and 75 pages dedicated to step 12, just for reference. And I'm going to post that now while Flo speaks, please.
Hi, Flo Alcoholic. I just wanted to say that I would have sponsees and they would slip. And I would take it personally, because a lot of times these girls were the same age as my daughters. And going back to what I felt was my failure as a mom, then I get into these sponsor-sponsee relationships and they fail. And it really upset me for a long time. And I finally ran into a lady that had a fair bit of time in the program, and she said, I was telling her all this, and she said, I'm sorry, I didn't see you wearing a red cape. You can't save anyone if they don't want to be saved. And that changed my perspective on what happens when one of my sponsees doesn't succeed. Anyway, I just thought I'd throw that in. I don't have a red cape.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, when sponsees don't succeed, I've told before about when my sponsee Lillian passed away. I went into a deep little dive about it, right? I read every text message, trying to read in between the lines. And her last message to me before she passed away was, I don't know how to get more willing. And so, like, I always talk about that. Hope is the key to willingness. But I go to that last page in Bill's story where it says, he could not or would not see our way of life. It has nothing to do with me at all. My only job is to provide hope and offer this solution as it was offered to me. What people do with it is beyond me, but it doesn't stop me from carrying the message to other people if it doesn't succeed with one, because I'm watching it succeed with so many others. Margaret!
Hi, thanks, Kim. My name's Margaret and I'm an alcoholic. So I'm really liking what I'm hearing, but I want to say that I know I was one of those rare few. I did use my phone list, and I was very, very grateful to have it. And whenever I've moved to a new town or whatever, and the ladies give out their phone numbers, immediately I feel like I'm a part of. But yeah, in the beginning of my sobriety, you know, I picked up the phone and I was very nervous and afraid of doing it. But especially being that I was young and single, and the people I was phoning were usually mothers, and I felt like I was disturbing them. But I was as desperate as only the willing could be. And I wanted to stay sober more than I wanted to drink. And I had the phone numbers, and I'm super, super grateful. So, you know, not everybody is fortunate to get sober in our program. This is for the people that want it, not necessarily for all the people who need it. Lord knows there's millions of us that need it. And unfortunately, not all of us make it. And anyway, so thank you. Just wanted to share that. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Yes, I'm not saying do not get the phone list. I'm just saying get their phone number as well, just for clarification. And another thing is just know you need to practice the boundaries, because a lot of the time what happens when people phone you off the phone list is they dump on you. And so being able to direct them with the appropriate conversation to the program, as opposed to just listening to them dump all of your problems, gets to be a skill that you develop. And it's important to develop that skill. All right, we're going to stop the recording.